Hello everyone, welcome back to Coach Craig Sports. Today I got my fantasy baseball team from the auction draft that I did last night. I'm going to be going over that a little bit. Yesterday was opening day for 4 of the teams in baseball. The rest will be today, the White Sox. And with that being said, I'm just going to go over my team real quick. I'll go over some of the other players that are won in the auction as well. And just kind of my thoughts overall this season. So I'm going to go through my team. I'll go player by player, how much I paid. This is also a keeper league, so some of these guys were keepers too. If they're a keeper, I will mention that they were a keeper. Let's see. So first one, I'm just going to go order position by position. So Francisco Mejia, catcher for the Padres, I paid $12. I usually don't pay up too much for catching at all. It's probably, spending $12 on him is probably one of the catchers I spent the most on over the years. But I think he's got a good upside as a hitter, and hopefully as the season he breaks out, maybe he's worth a keeper value next year at $12. And then next I had Jacob Stalin, Pittsburgh Pirates catcher. He's a little bit older, but this is his first real shot at starting. $4 ain't too bad for him, just kind of a second flyer guy. Paul Goldsmith, $45. I've had Goldsmith quite a bit over the years. I feel like $45 is a pretty fair price to pay for him. Not too much to say here. Pretty consistent player. Similar guys went for a little bit more. And then I got Tommy Edmond here. Tommy Edmond I actually picked up in a trade this offseason. He was a keeper for $4. I like him a lot. He can play second base and third base right now. There's a chance he gets outfield eligibility as well this year. He's just kind of one of them guys. He's never going to hurt your team. He hits a good average. Not going to hit a lot of home runs, but has a little bit of speed. And he's got a chance to play every day this year, probably at third base. But they'll move him around the field a little bit. Brian Anderson, he's a guy I won in the auction last year, kept for $19. He's kind of like one of them fringe guys for me because $19 is a little bit high. But compared to like what some of the guys normally go for in this auction, I feel like he was worth it for that price. And I think the lineup around him is a little bit better this year in Miami than it was previously last year. So hopefully he puts up a little bit better stats then. The next guy was Dansby Swanson. I won him last night in the draft for $17. He's kind of a guy I got stuck with. I thought the person I was kind of bidding with was going to bid another time. I'm not like too upset about it. Hopefully this is his big breakout year. He did have a lot better year last year, but $17 might have been a little bit too high on him. Then we had Ty France. He's got second base and third base eligibility. He's playing for the Padres. He probably won't see regular at bats, but this is also a NL only 13-team league, so you're gonna have some guys like that. He's only $1. He's got good power numbers. He's gonna be the DH for them most of the time when they face left-handed pitching at least, and then he might work his way into regular at bats. Either in the field or at DH as well. So I feel like his upside was pretty good for $1, especially this year with the DH. Then we had Cole Tucker. He was $2. He was a guy I kept. I got him in a trade last year, towards the end of the year. He's still young. He's not really broken out yet. He's not like starting right now because he's kind of blocked at second base and shortstop with Adam Frazier and Kevin Newman. But they've been playing him a little bit in the outfield too. Polanco is this guy, COVID right now. So there's a chance that you could see some reps in the outfield as well as the middle infield this year. So he's just kind of a guy that he maybe gets a playing time all over, maybe he does well. And then next year you could keep him again for another $2. And then he might have second base, shortstop, and outfield eligibility. If he does well, then he'd be pretty valuable. Next one I kept was Matt Beatty. Originally I wasn't going to keep him for $3 because I didn't think he was going to play that much with how stacked the Dodgers are, but this year with the DH that kind of helps him out a little bit as well. Last year he put up some decent numbers in the part of the year that he did play. So not too much to say about him there. If he's a guy that doesn't really do much or if he's not getting a lot of bats, maybe he's just a guy that gets cut throughout the year. We pick up another guy on waivers. But for $3, he wasn't too much. We probably could have gotten back in the draft for about the same price, maybe $1 less. But going into the draft, you never know that. So you just kind of take the shot. Then next we have Mookie Bets. I got Mookie Bets in the draft this year for $63. Sounds like a lot of money. Kind of is a lot of money, but Christian Yelich went for about like $10 more, so I'm not going to complain too much there. I feel like it was a pretty fair price for what he's capable of. Pairing him and Goldsmith together was kind of like our two big hitters. Then I kept Jared Dyson for $5. He's going to start pretty much most of the time in center field for the Pirates this year. He's a good stolen base guy. He's not the guy that's really going to kill you at all. So I thought he was a fair keeper, especially that he landed in a role where he's going to start. He's a little bit on the older side, but he could provide good value for stolen bases. Then I got Tommy Pham. I ended up getting him for $37. He's kind of like our third big hitter. He's one of them guys, like, if you don't pay too much attention, especially last year when he was in Tampa Bay, you probably wouldn't realize how good his stats were. But compared to a lot of the guys like in that similar outfield range that I would consider him, he was a little bit cheaper than them, so I don't feel bad about him at all there. Then the last guy that I kept in the outfield was Brian Reynolds. I picked him up last year for $5. He had a good year. Obviously, he probably would have gone for like $20 in this league in the draft if I didn't keep him, so I feel like he's good value there. Last guy for my utility spot, I picked up Jorge Mateo. I put him on IR already, or injured list, because he's on the injured list in real life. I just paid $1 for him. He's kind of a guy going under the radar, but he's kind of like a free pickup in this league for the draft. He's a guy that could probably play second base, shortstop, a little bit of outfield when he comes back. He's probably not going to start, but he has a lot of upside as a former prospect with good pedigree. Then I'll show you guys my minor leagues too. So every year we have a 2-round minor league draft. And you keep those guys until they get called up, pretty much. Then once they're called up, they're worth $5, and then after that you can keep them the normal way. And then after like 2 years, you can give them a contract extension. So that's the way it works for that, and most of the guys in this league. So I got Han Bay for Pittsburgh. He's second base, shortstop. He's a really young guy. Got a good hit tool. Got a lot of speed, not a lot of power. He's got a good upside, I'd say. Then Nolan Gorman, third base for the Cardinals. He's a first-round pick in the amateur draft a couple of years ago now. Got light tower power, good upside there. A little bit of questions whether he can stay at third base long-term. And then his strikeout rate's a little bit high, but he's hit pretty well so far in the minors, so I'm not too concerned about him. I think he's a guy that's going to get better with age. Malcolm Nunez, below him, is also a third base prospect for the Cardinals. He tore it up in the Dominican Summer League. He was kind of the guy I took in my second-round pick last year as a flyer. He didn't do as good in the stateside last year when he got brought over, but he's still a guy with a lot of upside. Next one was Brayden Shumak. He was my last second-round pick this year. For me, he was picked in the first round of last year's amateur draft. He's one of them guys. He's kind of solid. He's kind of like a Tommy Edmond, where he's not going to hurt you in any way. He's got some upside if he can run into some playing time with the Braves eventually, or if they move him to another team in the National League, hopefully. Then I got Bryson Stott. He was another first-round pick from the year before. He went to UNLV. He's got pretty much all the tools you look for. He's with the Phillies. He's a shortstop. He could be up as soon as next year, hopefully. Then I took Jesus Sanchez. I just took a shot on him. He got traded over to the Marlins last year with Tampa Bay. He kind of had a down year in the minors last year. But overall, he's been pretty good in the minors. So if he kind of bounces back, I think that's real good, especially considering where I was able to draft him. Since we're already talking about the prospects, I'll just bring up my last guy down here, who I took either at the end of the first round or the beginning of the second round this year. His name is Josiah Gray. He's a starting pitcher for the Dodgers. He got traded to them in the trade that sent Puig, Alex Wood, and Matt Kemp over to the Reds. I think that was a year ago now. He's got a lot of upside. The Dodgers came out and said he's their best pitching prospect, so that's kind of big news for them, considering they got a couple other guys there that are pretty good, Dustin May, among others. Then I kept Mitch Keller for $5. This will be the first year for him. He's got a lot of upside if he can put it all together for the Pirates. Joey Lucchesi, kept him for $3. The Padres pitcher, Carlos Martinez, I kept him for $15. It looks like he's going to start this year. I think he's got a lot of upside if he's healthy. That's been his main thing, is staying healthy. Joe Musgrove, I kept for $4. Joe Musgrove is a guy I've liked for a long time. He's never quite put it all together in a long season, but he's had stretches where he'll be really dominant in starts, but then you'll have some other starts where he's not as good. So it's just kind of putting it all together. He's the opening day starter for the Pirates, so hopefully he has a great year. Then we picked up Gary Richards in the draft. He was $9. He's a guy I like a lot this year. Padres ballpark helps pitchers a little bit. He's a guy also who hasn't stayed healthy very long in his career, but with the shortened season, hopefully that helps him out and he can pitch more. So then we got down to Brewstar Gatorall here. Graterol. Not sure if I'm pronouncing his name right. He came over to the Dodgers as kind of like one of them other pieces in the Mookie Bets trade, or where they traded Mejia for him. Originally, he was in the big trade and he was going to go to the Red Sox. The Red Sox didn't want him for whatever reason. Either his medicals or they didn't realize he was going to probably be a relief pitcher instead of a starting pitcher. Overall, I think he's got a lot of upside, whether it's a starting pitcher or a relief pitcher. I think he could become the closer if something happens to Jansen, or even like next year. So I think for $2, he's a good upside guy. He throws really hard. He throws like over 100. So definitely got to keep your eye on. And then we had two Cardinals pitchers here, Andrew Miller and Ryan Hazley, both for $1. Miller actually kept for $1, and then Hazley we won in the draft for $1. So both these guys should see some save opportunities for St. Louis this year. So they both have a little bit of upside there. And then my last guy, Alex Vessia, I took him in my other league. If you guys watched that video, I paid $2 for him in this league. Normally I'd do $1, but I only had max bid at $2 left, and I was really only bidding against one other team, so I bid $2. That way, pretty much if he outbid me, because if I bid 1 and he bids 2, I still get outbid either way. But if I bid 2 and he bids 3, then I get outbid. And then if Vessia turns out to be a better keeper next year, at least you pay an extra $1 for him. And like that extra $1, it's not really going to kill me too much. But overall, I think I got a pretty solid team. A team that should be able to compete some. Hopefully we can make a couple trades and be in the upper echelon this year. I don't see any teams that are quite as stacked this year, so I'm going to go over here to draft results. We can talk about a couple guys that went. These were pretty much team by team who everybody won. Christian Yelich went for 71. So I think that's the most anybody's ever gone for in our league. It's hard to know if he's worth it, especially in the shortened season. But I mean, $71 out of 260, that's quite a bit of your budget. So we'll see. It just depends what pieces you put around him. That guy also won Mikey Yastrzemski for $26, which I think was a lot for him. Then he had, let's see if we got any other good ones on his team. So Brandon Kinsler went for $12. If he's the closer for Miami, that could be good. If he's not, it's probably a bad price. Craig Kimbrell went for $27. That's a little bit too much for me. Lorenzo Cain for $22. I'm fine with. Wilson Ramos for $12 is all right. Fowler, $9. Mikolas for $6. That's a good price if he keeps putting up the numbers that he's been putting up. And then down here, Tony Watson for $3. If he's the closer for San Francisco, that's a really good price. Then we had Freddie Freeman for $46, like I talked about for Goldschmidt. Kind of the guys around him went for about the same price, so nothing too crazy there. Blackman for $44, and this league's pretty fair. Marcus Stroman for $15 was pretty interesting since he tore his calf muscle now. We're not sure how long he's going to be out. So maybe that's an overpay if he misses a lot of time this year. Kyle Schwarber for $34. It might be a little high, but it's probably about where he normally goes for in this league. Tyler Chatwood for $6. I thought this was a lot. I don't think Chatwood's worth more than $2, especially in this league. Then most of these other guys were real cheap. Nothing too crazy to say there. Giovanni Gallegos went for $13. So compared to Andrew Miller and Ryan Hazley, for me, I got them both for $1 a piece. And Gallegos could be part of that closer committee as well. He's on the IL currently, though, so 13 might be a little bit too much for him. Archie Bradley went for $27. That's a little bit more than I thought he'd go for. Arizona's always kind of one of them teams, like, they never want him to be the full, like, they want him to be closer, but they don't want him to be full closer, if that makes sense. So he's always been a pretty good pitcher, but hopefully this year he breaks out for that team. Dave Dowell went for 33. I think that was a little bit more than I thought he'd go for. Actually, one Tommy Pham right before he went, and I was kind of waiting on Dahl, but then like Pham came out there, and I kind of just went with it. Matt Carpenter for 11's not too bad. Jake Lamb for $3 could be a sleeper, especially since how deep our league is. You got real cheap catchers there. Iron Pigs, we got. So Johnny Cueto went for 21. I think that was pretty high. Luis Castillo went for 39. I think that was a little bit high too. Joey Votto went for 18, which was a surprise for me actually in this league, just because he always goes for more than he should in this league. So I was kind of surprised he didn't hit 20 at least. Hosmer was 20. That's fine. Let's see. Zach Gallen went for 21. He was kind of a guy I was targeting, but he went a little bit too high for me. DeSclafani, he went for 12, and he's hurt right now, so I think that was a little bit of overpay. AJ Pollock for 8, I don't mind. Arcia for 4. He could be a good keeper for next year if he gets the shortstop job. And then Syndergaard went for 9, so he could be a potential keeper next year, but two guys kind of bid him up, so he kind of kills some of his value. Then we had Trevor Story for 59. I think this was a little bit high. Obviously, I paid a couple bucks more for bets, but usually shortstops don't go this much in this league. So, and I feel like there is a decent amount of depth at shortstop this year too. So it was kind of interesting. And then he kind of got brought up a little bit after some of the other really high players went as well. Marcell Ozuna 38, I feel like was fine. Braun Myers, they were kind of expected. Let's see here. None of these other guys really stick out. Just a bunch of $1 guys that could be all right. This guy, Kim for the Cardinals. So I'm not sure exactly what the Cardinals are going to do with him. He didn't get it. Doesn't look like he's going to be in the rotation. He could end up closing, but he went for $21. And if they got a 4-headed monster at the back end of their bullpen, and he's not the lead guy, $21 is a massive overpay. Ketel Marte went for 39. I knew he was going to go for a lot, but this was still more than I thought he was going to go for. Conforto 42. A little bit high. Scott Kingery 22. I think it's a little bit high, but nothing crazy. Peterson's the same way, kind of. Then Harold Ramirez for $1, not bad if he keeps his job all year and kind of does what he did last year. Jacob deGrom 55. It's a little bit high, but it's about what he went for last year. Rizzo was at 46, so another guy that was around Goldschmidt range. Jonathan Villar for 38. This one was one that I thought was high as well. He went about the same as Marte, but I think Marte is probably a better player. Villar obviously gets more steals, though. Kenley Jansen, 26 is probably fair. Let's see if we got anybody else that really stands out here. Jay Bruce for $2 could be all right, especially with DH this year. And then, let's see. Jose Ozuna was a guy that I liked for late round guy. He was the kind of the other guy. I was between him and Ty France, but I ended up getting France, so... And then he kind of took a lot of setup guys with Pomeranz, Pagan, Betances, Trennan. I'm not sure he's going to hit his inning limits, so we'll see about that. This guy, you got Trey Turner and Machado for 45 each. Like, that's nothing too crazy to me. Ian Happ, 25 is probably about right. McCutcheon, 16. Fultonevich at 14 is probably a little bit more than I'd pay, but if he bounces back, it could be worth it. Hilliard went for 11. We had him in our other league, so obviously with more teams, he goes a little bit higher in this league. Cole Calhoun for $10 could be a decent sleeper price there. Pablo Lopez for $4. He's kind of guy that I was eyeballing too a little bit, but didn't go after. Jameson Taillon for $2. He could be a good keeper next year if he comes back healthy. This looks like a team that's kind of rebuilding, so he took a lot of cheap guys late to try to rebuild for the future. Then let's see. So we're going to skip my team because we already went over it. Then we got Brooks and Ivy. This is Matt's team. He paid $57 for Chris Bryant. That might have been a little bit of overpay. Edwin Diaz, $27, probably about fair. Shogo for $22. I ain't sure about that one. It might be a little bit too much, but until we see what he can do, who knows. Eduardo Escobar, 26 is probably about fair. John Lester was 9. I think John Lester's done personally, so I think 9 was a little bit too much. Then he got Daniel Hudson for $2, was fine. He bid $2 on Hernan Perez, who didn't even make the Cubs opening day roster, so he's probably just going to end up cutting him. He didn't realize that he wasn't there. But his last 3 picks I kind of helped him out with. He got Jason Martin, Corey Knievel, and Jed Jerko, all for $1. So they're people that could be potential keepers next year, especially like if Martin gets playing time and Knievel comes back and gets some saves. Let's see. Then we got this Damn Thunder. We got Patrick Corbin, Bauer. That's probably about what I expect them to go for. I don't like those prices because I don't like either of those players myself particularly. Castellanos for 37. He was kind of a guy that got brought up and he went high, and I'm like, I don't know if he's worth that, but I don't really know what to value him at this point. He's just kind of a guy that I wasn't going to draft either way. Zach Wheeler went for 25. I think this is a little high. Wheeler is a guy that he could possibly still opt out after the season starts. His wife's having a baby in a couple of weeks, so if he doesn't want to be around everything and for the safety of his family, he could opt out at that point still. Daniel Murphy went for 27. This was a lot more than he went for in our other league, so I was kind of surprised how much he went for. I think there was kind of a middle ground between the $5 I paid in the other league and 27 here, and that's kind of where Murphy probably should be worth. Gregorius 26 might have been a little high, but in that middle range, you just kind of get what you get. Mark Melancon 14, that's probably about right. Obviously, he's competing for a lot of. He's competing with a lot of guys for save opportunities. Avisal Garcia for 22. He actually was a guy that I thought probably get closer to 25, but he didn't quite get there. There's a lot of money off the table by that point, so he might be a little bit of a value. Porcello for 6 was a guy, I don't know how the heck he got to $6. He hasn't been good ever since he won the Cy Young, so I don't know what else to say about that. Then he had a lot of $1 guys at the end here as well. Edward Cabrera is a prospect. Could be up with the Marlins later. Kyle Wright's a top prospect with the Braves. Jalen Davis, he's good defensively, but I probably wouldn't have drafted him. Then he had Luis Campusano. He's a guy who hasn't really played above A-ball, so kind of taking a risk there. Then Tyler Mahle is a guy I've always liked a lot for $1 if he ever puts it together. He is going to be the 5th starter while Descalfani is out, so that could be some value there. Arenado for 62, that's probably about right. Maybe a couple bucks too high. Sean Doolittle went for 22. That's a little high for me, especially if he splits saves with Hudson some. Then we got Justin Turner at 35. Compared to some of the other third basemen, he's not too bad a value. Omar Narvaez for 16. It's probably about right. I mean, he went a little bit earlier than Mejia, so Segura for 15 I think was a good value. Wade Davis for 7 could be a good value if he gets saves, but the way he's been the last couple of years, who knows. Alex Wood for 6, that could be a good value if he bounces back. Robinson Cano for $4 is pretty crazy, actually. Obviously, everybody knows about Robinson Cano. And then he took Jake Marisnick for $2. Marisnick's a guy that I've always liked a lot. At the point in the draft, I couldn't outbid him, so I was considering him for like kind of my utility or something like that. Then you got Goldsmith. Let's see. You got Matt Kemp as the last pick for $1. That might be worth it playing in Coors Field now. But overall, I'd say I like my draft. Probably Swanson was the guy I wish I didn't get. Swanson and Stalin. I kind of wish I could just swap them two out and then maybe upgrade one of my pitchers. But overall, I wouldn't say it was too bad a draft. I think my team's in pretty good shape considering the keepers that I had going in and the keepers that other people had going in. I think my draft kind of balanced it out a little bit in the powers. So I think it's going to be a pretty good season for us. We'll see who we can pick up in waivers and trades and see if we can make a run for it this year, especially in the shortened season. But that's pretty much all I got for this video. If you guys want to see more from this team, just let me know. If you guys liked and enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you have any comments, questions, or ideas, just let me let me know down in the comment section. You can also email me at coachcraigsports@gmail.com or on the Facebook page, Coach Craig Sports. If you guys already haven't subscribed, be sure to do so. If you are a new subscriber or already subscribed and you haven't hit the notification bell, it's pretty simple to do. It'll let you know every time that I put up a new video. And with that being said, that's pretty much all I got for today. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Have a great rest of your day.